Welcome to Roane State Community College's Introduction to ADA Accessibility and Course Design. What is accessibility? Web accessibility refers to the inclusive practice of designing web pages so that the content is accessible to people with disabilities. By utilizing specific standards and processes, equal access to resources and tools available online can be provided. What is accommodation? Accommodations are provided to students so they have alternatives or modifications in order to accomplish the required work in their courses. The goal of the accommodation is to provide equal access to the learning environment, but it should not weaken the academic rigor or alter fundamental aspects of the course. An accommodation is different from accessibility in that accessibility should be built into courses and accommodations are provided based on request. Who is impacted? Each year, thousands of students attend Roane State. Hundreds self-report with disability services each semester. Major categories of disabilities. Visual impairment impacts how students perceive the web. Designing content with high contrast colors or tools such as screen readers and keyboard accessibility features enable access for students. When incorporating audio or video into online courses, captioning or transcripts should be provided so that information being delivered can be read by those with hearing impairments. Key challenges with motor disabilities include mouse or keyboard operability. Assistive technology such as voice recognition or eye tracking software, adaptive keyboards, mouth sticks, or head wands can enable access to online resources. Clinical cognitive disabilities include medical diagnoses such as autism, Down syndrome, traumatic brain injury, and dementia. Examples of less severe cognitive conditions include ADD, dyslexia, as well as other learning disabilities. Functional cognitive disabilities focus on deficits or difficulties with memory, problem solving, attention, reading, linguistic or verbal comprehension, math comprehension, and visual comprehension. Some people with photoepileptic seizures are susceptible to seizures induced by strobing, flickering, or flashing effects. While most web content is harmless, there are legal restrictions prohibiting flickering effects with a frequency greater than 2 Hz or 2 flickers per second and lower than 55 Hz. Some special effects may not cause seizures, but instead induce nausea or dizziness, so it is important to be mindful of content that may have distracting or sickening effects. Policies and law. The Rehabilitation Act of 1973 was the first major legislative effort to offer a range of services for people with physical and cognitive disabilities. Section 504 and 508 address civil rights issues. It has been amended to include access to a range of services, including information technology such as web services. Passed in 1990, the Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA, is comprehensive civil rights legislation which seeks to ensure that individuals with disabilities can have an equal opportunity to participate in programs, services, and activities. Title II of ADA states that communication with people with disabilities must be as effective as communication with others, and Title III addresses public accommodation. In 2008, the World Wide Web Consortium released WCAG, or Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, which is a technical standard that has become a shared standard for web accessibility. It is primarily intended for web content developers, web authoring tool developers, or anyone who wants to ensure that the web content they release is more accessible to people with disabilities. The U.S. Department of Justice and U.S. Department of Education sent out a formal letter to all college and university presidents explaining the necessary ADA compliance requirements in higher education. They note that technology is the hallmark of the future, and technological competency is essential in preparing all students for future success. Requiring use of an emergent technology when it is inaccessible to an entire population of individuals with disabilities is discrimination prohibited by the ADA and Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. In fall of 2014, the state legislature passed a bill that required the Tennessee Higher Education Council, or THEC, to assemble accessibility task forces across the state in order to meet compliance with federal ADA law. In response, TBR has assembled a team of accessibility specialists, developed an accessibility initiative, and is requiring faculty from the top 30 courses at each school to attend TBR accessibility training in order to update their course content to meet legal standards. Training and support. It is important to begin to understand the laws that institutions of higher education are required to comply with and learn basic web accessibility principles that you can implement in your courses. TBR and Roane State Center for Teaching Arts and Technology, or CTAT, are working to offer both face-to-face and online courses so that resources and training opportunities are readily available to all full-time and adjunct professors. In learning accessibility design principles, the college asks that moving forward, all faculty members strive to update and make new course material accessible. Support will be provided as these incremental changes occur. Implementing web accessibility. As you learn effective ways to design your own course content, please remember that you are supporting our mission to provide equal access to education for all students, regardless of any physical or cognitive disabilities they may have.